Excellent. Hello and welcome to Thornhill Baptist Church. My name is Nathaniel and I'll be guiding you through the service today. If you're joining us online, hello and welcome. It's great to see you. If you're new here, it's your first time, pick up a Connect form pack at the sides of the church. In them, you've got loads of goodies and you've got a Connect form. Fill that in and hand it in to one of us and we'd love to get you back in. Also, just to be aware, the young people, as you may see, aren't here today. They are currently at DTI. DTI is like a youth camp, so they're there Saturday to around Thursday or Friday, and they'll be learning lots about Jesus. And so Ellen and Paul are with them for that, so if you do have a pastoral emergency, please contact Sean or Judy Shaw. Also, I've heard rumours today that it is somebody's birthday. It is Jeffrey's 40th birthday, so everyone wants to give a round of applause. As is TBC tradition, I'll give you the option. I think it's a nice way. Would you like us to sing happy birthday to you? Yes, he would. Excellent. Phil has spoken on behalf. So yeah, on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Jeffrey. Happy birthday to you. Great job, everybody. We're about to move into a time of worship where you can use those lovely singing voices. Just be aware the kids are going to be staying in for this service as it is an all age, so please don't get ready to rush out on the second song like you used to doing. Please stay in. And the offering will be taken up in the second song. And so the way we're going to do that, COVID-wise, is there's 2 boxes at the back. So if you want to go up during the second song, feel free to take a wander to the back slowly. People won't be judging you. That's totally fine. So over to the band.
Good morning. If you are willing and able, please stand with us. One of the things I was really struck at, Ellen and my 2, I keep saying kids, but they're not really kids anymore. What do we call them? Teenagers. They've been at New Wine this last week, and I joined them for the beginning because I had to tow the caravan up. And at the start of the service, they talked about the posture of praise. And that really struck me. That's not necessarily just how we're standing, although posture of praise can be very in a receiving mode, but also our hearts and our minds. And I just wanted to share the idea of being in a place and a posture of praise as we come before God today in these songs of worship.
His love endures forever.
grace of God, we will carry on. His love endures forever. We sing praise. Sing praise. We sing praise. Forever God is faithful. Lord, that is indeed why we are here today. We have come to give you glory. We have come to give you praise. Amen.
So, as part of our summer series, we have two options. And so the first option is to stay in here and listen to me for the next 45 minutes. Or you can go into the Thomas room, which is down the corridor to the right, and you can be led by Tim. And Tim is going to come up and join us on stage now. And Tim is going to give us a quick promo / 30-second advert about what he's going to be talking about in there. I assume this green microphone's on. Feel free to speak for that one.
Hi everyone. We're going to be looking at the other side of the gospel, a much neglected element of the good news of Jesus. And we're going to be quite political as well, but not party political. So you'd be very welcome to come.
Excellent. Thank you, Tim. For those of you that want to stay in here, we will be looking at the new I Am series. Today we'll be looking at I Am the Gate, so feel free to stay in here. This is going to be quite an inclusive, all-age service, so it's going to be a lot of fun. We'll do a drama, we're going to have a talk, we have lots of songs. So yeah, feel free to make your mind up now. I'm now going to invite you, if you'd like to go to Going Deeper, feel free to go kind of move out the way now. But yeah, nobody's judging you depending on where you go. You can always watch the all-age service again on the live stream on repeat. So, yeah. If you are a kid or a child that normally goes to Extreme or Transform, I'd invite you to come forward, come sit on the front row. Basically, this service is for you guys, so feel free to take the best seat in the house. Norman, can you sign me up, please, if that's all right? Cheers. Take your come sit anywhere, but like, it's your service, effectively. Also, feel free, if somebody you were sitting next to has left you to go to Going Deeper, feel free to move around now. This is your other opportunity, so you don't feel like you're sitting alone. Right, on with the service. So, today we're doing the new 7 I Am series. That's what I'm calling it. The first thing that came to mind for me when I saw the I Am series was the I Am's cat advert that came to mind. I don't know why, that was just the same thing. That's branding for you. But each week, for the next 5 weeks, we're going to look at the different things that Jesus says. There are 7 things that he says, and he says, I am the bread of life, I am the light of the world, I am the gate, I am the good shepherd, I am the resurrection and the life, I am the way and the truth and the life, and I am the vine. But did you also know that in the Bible, God is referred to with I am 300 times in the Bible? So this kind of means that he thinks he has come. And so we're going to kind of unpack that over the weeks. But today we're particularly focusing on I am the gate. So what do you first think of when it comes to gates? Well, for some of us, there are debates over what there are more of in life. Are there more doors or wheels in life? So I'm going to take a quick survey now to have your opinion. Do you think, if you put your hand up for doors now, do you think there are more doors in the world? Do you think there are more doors in the world? Cool, we've got a couple of hands. Or put your hand up if you think there are more wheels in the world. Ooh, I feel like that's a bit more, I feel like wheels takes it, okay. To be honest, it wasn't trying to prove a point, I was just trying to get your opinion. For me, what I first think of when I think of doors, is this clip up here. By the way, this person is okay.
Who's that?
Yes.
We will watch that one more time.
Who's that?
Yes.
And we'll now get off screen. So, that clip is at university. We were in the drama department and I was messing around with my friend. We were basically trying to do a knock-knock joke, and then I kind of forgot that she was behind the door, and the door was quite lightweight, just absolutely punched her through her face. So that's the first thing that comes to mind when I think house.
Doors or wheels?
No. Doors. It's doors for me. I think there's more doors out there.
You didn't know the answer, though.
Pardon?
What's the answer?
There is no answer. There is no answer. It's your opinion.
Okay. Again, if you are willing and able, please join us in standing as we... In fact, kids, do any of you know the actions to this one? My Lighthouse. Yeah? If anyone's feeling really brave and you wanted to teach these grown-ups who are really keen to follow you in the actions, that would be fantastic. support. Thank you.
Well done, Cameron. Great job. So, as we look at today's passage, I thought we'd kind of try and get a different experience of it. So, if you'd like to take a Bible out from under your seat, I've put Bibles under every alternate seat today. So, there should be plenty available. Kids, if you want to grab one as well, grab a Bible from behind your seats. There should be one. Everyone needs one to have one in their hand. I just think sometimes it's quite handy to have it and actually look at the passage itself. So I'll wait for everyone to get one. Right, there we go. So back in the day, when I went to youth house group, we used to play a game called Bible Shotgun. And Bible Shotgun is a great game. If you're on your phone or you're on any electronic device, you're disqualified. So the way Bible Shotgun works is I read out say the passage, and the person that's got to get there quickest has got to shout, me. So, or you basically got to stand up effectively. So the first person to get to the passage wins effectively. So everyone have your Bibles closed. Make sure you're closed like that. No cheating, no cheating. So the passage we're going to look at today is John 10, chapter 1. First person to get it, stand up and shout, I win. Stand up, please. Hey! Great job. Right, excellent. So if everyone else would like to get to John 10, chapter 1, we're going to be looking at verses 1 to 10 today. So I thought instead of me just reading it out normally, I would give you the option. So today you can read the passage for yourself and you can kind of look at it. Or there's going to be a video played on screen. The video on screen is just of me walking around somewhere. You don't have to watch it. If you just want to look at your Bible and read that instead, that's totally fine. But if you want to kind of take in something visually, then feel free to watch the screen. So we're now going to play a video clip of today's reading.
Very truly I tell you, Pharisees, anyone who does not enter the sheep pen by the gate, but climbs in by some other way, is a thief and a robber. The one who enters by the gate is the shepherd of the sheep. The gatekeeper opens the gate for him, and the sheep listen to his voice. He calls his own sheep by name and leads them out. When he has brought out all his own, he goes on ahead of them, and his sheep follow him, because they recognize his voice. But they will never follow a stranger. In fact, they will run away from him, because they do not recognize a stranger's voice. Jesus used this figure of speech, but the Pharisees did not understand what he was telling them. Therefore Jesus said again, very truly I tell you, I am the gate for the sheep. All who have come before me are thieves and robbers, but the sheep have not listened to them. I am the gate. Whoever enters through me will be saved. They will come in and go out and find pasture. The thief comes only to steal and kill and destroy. I have come that they may have life and have it to the full.
Cheers, Nathaniel. So, to give you a bit of context to understand this story, we're going to look at John chapter 9. So, to be fair, if you want to flick back a page, or feel free to, I don't know, I haven't got it out in front of me. But basically, the Pharisees, which are basically a bunch of meanies, the Pharisees are basically trying to get Jesus. They're trying to catch him out. So when you're in the school playground and somebody says something to you, and they're trying to trick you, that's what the Pharisees are. And so in John chapter 9, basically, Jesus heals a blind guy. And that was pretty cool. But this was on the Sabbath, a holy day, a day of rest. And basically, like today, the Sunday. And so because this was Jesus' day off, the Pharisees didn't like this one bit. But Jesus had the power to do what he wanted to do. And he wanted to use this guy as a display of God's work. So he did. So now Jesus is using the example of a sheep's pen, flick back to chapter 10, to explain to the Pharisees, as most people back in the day were shepherds. And these shepherds would act as a physical gate on the sheep's pen. And they would lie down across the doorway to act as a gate. I'm now going to try and follow that seriously. But I think you get the point. The point is that kind of they were acting out the sheep pen and that Jesus acts as the gate. But as we were looking at John 10 verses 1 earlier, if you want to keep your Bibles open, the passage is summed up a bit like the drama played out. The passage is all about gates and shepherds. But what actually makes a good gate? Well, what does a good gate need to be? Well, there's 4 things that I've got that a good gate needs to be. I want you to kind of shout them out if you've got an idea as to what a good gate needs to be. What does a good gate look like? Sturdy, good shout. Any other shouts, suggestions? Over here, what have we got? What would a good gate be? Bricks. You could have a gate out of bricks. Sturdy again, though. Any other suggestion? Strong. Love that. Secure. What does a gate do? Open and close. Excellent. Any others? What does a gate take you to?
Protected.
Protective. Love that. Where, if you go through a gate, where does it take you? Safe. Other side. There we go. Love that. So I've got 4 things. I've got a good gate needs to be recognisable, protective, it needs to open and close, and it needs to lead you somewhere. So those are the 4 things I want you to remember for this week. And so going back to the gates and doors we looked at earlier, you wouldn't go through those doors unless you recognise them. Who here would go through the Monsters Inc. door?
Me.
Okay, you are braver than me. Trust me, I would not want to go into some random bedroom. I would not want it. But unlike that, who here would want to go through that pink door that I showed you earlier, where I was on the other side?
Me.
You are very brave. I highly doubt it. So why would you expect Jesus to do any differently? He wouldn't. So how is Jesus recognisable to us? Well, like sheep, we are sometimes under threat from others, so we learn to trust who's looking out for us. Sheep learn to do this by recognising their shepherd's voices. And this trust is only then established by the shepherd calling his own sheep by name. And only then do the sheep recognise their shepherd and trust him to lead them. And I think this is the same for us. We trust that God is looking out for us. We listen out for his voice, and only when he calls us by name are we then to follow and be led by him. And for me, the fact that he calls us by name in verse 3 is probably one of the most significant factors as to why every single one of us is sat here today in this building. As we've all been individually being called in some way or another. So that's how the gate is recognisable to us. But how does it now protect us? Well, the way is the sheep pen is built, there's only one way in and out. And this reminded me of my stay in London last week. I was hanging out in Hyde Park with my friend, and it was getting late. So as we went to leave the park was it was dusk, and the park was closing. We didn't know that, we weren't aware, we were just having a good time, we were eating our food, and it was fine. But we didn't realise the park shuts at dusk, and there was a sign in front of us saying there was only one way out of the park. So we went and followed the signs for the exit like sheep. When we got there, we discovered the exit was like a turnstile, if you want to see next slide. So it was like this, and there was only one way out, and you go through the turnstile, and once you're out of the park, you can't get back in. So we went through this, but as we were doing so, we saw some people trying to climb into the park. They were trying to get into the park through some other way, even though the park was shut. Some were trying to push against the turnstile. I saw one lady trying to get in through the turnstile. I don't know what she was doing, but unless she was like jelly, she wasn't getting through it. Some were even hopping over the fence. As you can see, the fence was spiked, but people were trying to jump in through anyway, and I just wanted to get out. I was like, why do you want to come in? It's dark, you can't see anything. And these people entering the park, not by the gate, are like the thieves and robbers in the passage in verse 1. You see, what Jesus is telling us in verse 8 is that everyone before him was not followed by the sheep, whereas these sheep follow him through the only entrance, the gate. There's only one entry, only one way that protects us and allows us to be saved. So that's how we're protected. So that's how we've got a gate that's recognisable to us, we've got a gate that's protective to us, and now we've got a gate that opens and closes. So for a gate to be any good, they need to open and close. Otherwise, you get stuck. A few years ago, I went on a family holiday to Italy, and my family are going to love this story. And we went to the Colosseum in Rome, which looks like this image up here. Massive building. You guys will absolutely love it. Feel free to go. Would highly recommend it. Why not? We spent ages queuing up with our ticket, and then we were then called up to go through this turnstile. And the turnstile looked like this. And so this turnstile was a different type of turnstile. So it was a different type of gate. And so younger Nate, thinking he was a cool Brit abroad, swaggered up and tried to be stylish entering the Colosseum. And so I kind of swiped my ticket on the barcode reader, pushed the turnstile, and then I somehow managed to kind of get my leg stuck like this on the turnstile. So bearing in mind the turnstile is a 3-pin one, the metal thing was like there. As a guy, it was so uncomfortable. And I was kind of straddled like this. And my family were wetting themselves. And I had this scary Italian guard looking at me like, what is this idiot doing in our country? Like, what is wrong with him? And so I was kind of stuck, but I was kind of straddled across, but it wasn't easily recoverable because this turnstile gate would only move once you scanned the ticket. But I'd already scanned my ticket once, so it wasn't moving again. And so I kind of had to get my family to lift me up and kind of fling over All the while this guy was absolutely scaring me, and my family were laughing a lot. And so I finally got through into the Colosseum and had a great time looking around it. Fortunately, I am not the gate. But as it says in verse 9, Jesus says, I am the gate, and whoever enters through me will be saved. He will come in and go out, and it's precisely that. With Jesus as the gate, we get to go in, and the gate opens for us and closes after we've gone through it, unlike the turnstile. So following on from that, with Jesus as the gate, what does this mean? Like, where does this take us? Well, continuing in verse 9, whoever enters through the gate will be saved, taking us to pasture. So that, as in verse 10, we have life to the full, now forevermore. Trust me, this is a gate or a door you want to go through. There's only one way in which is recognizable to us. That is protected, which opens for us and leads us to a life on the other side. So I'm now going to invite you to go through that gate with me. If you want to have life to the full, we're going to do exactly what verse 3 says by asking Jesus to open the gate for us. We are then going to spend the next few minutes listening to his voice, and if he calls you by name, follow him to where he leads you. So now, as the music plays, I'm going to invite you in joining me to go through that gate. I'm going to invite you to do a brave thing, and if this is the first time you've ever wanted to enter through that gate, or haven't gone through that gate in a long time, I'm going to ask you to stand with me. So if you want to stand with me now, as the music plays, I'm going to invite you to come through that gate for the first time or for the numerous times that you've been through it. But I want to invite you to have a life to the full. And so by doing that, Jesus invites us to go through that gate. So if you want to stand with me now, if that feels particularly poignant to you, feel free to stand with me. But don't worry, there's also a second call as well. Also in the build-up to this service, God has really placed verse 3 on my heart. I was sat and refreshed the other week and felt this verse standing out to me. And in particular, what it is about this verse is that for some of us, we've lost track of hearing God's voice. Either we haven't heard it for a while, or we haven't had time, or we aren't really sure if God's listening to us. And I want to pray with you today, like in verse 3, that we'd listen to his voice and be called by name, and that we'd follow his voice. So again, I'm asking you to do a brave thing, and if in the next few minutes, whilst the music is playing, I want you to stand with me, and people will come and pray with you. But yeah, the music's now going to play. If you don't feel called by any of these things, that's totally fine. Just pray over that you would listen out for God's voice and hear what he has to say for you. But the music will be on for a few minutes, and yeah. So if at any moment you feel called by God, feel free to stand. But we're just going to spend the next few minutes listening to the music and asking to hear God's voice. I'll invite you guys to stay a bit longer after the service if you want to continue praying and listening out for God's voice. But we're now going to move into another time of worship. I'm going to introduce to you Great Are You, Lord, and finish with The Lord's My Shepherd, 2 songs which I think are great for really reflecting on these words. So handing it back over to the band.
Can't do 2 things. I mentioned New Wine earlier, and then realised perhaps some of you don't know what New Wine is, so just to put some context. It's a Christian festival that's been running for decades now, that we've been going to for many years as a family. Anna was there this year as a helper. She was looking after, I think, I'm probably going to get this wrong, so you can check with her when you next see her, 0 to 4 years old, 0 to 4 year olds. And the theme for their group was one of the lines you've just talked about, Nathaniel. And they follow me because they know my voice, was one of the themes of the week. Anna had 3 little ones she was looking after. And at the beginning, sorry, I could get emotional. At the beginning of the week, one of them was very hard of hearing and had to wear hearing aids to be able to hear anything that was going on. And during the worship towards the back end of the week was completely healed, could hear perfectly. And there was this moment where the mother called her son and he turned around without any hearing aids, and just amazing, and I think reflects nicely on as our Father hearing his voice and knowing that. Anyway, I thought I'd share that with you. Right. Please feel free to stand if you're able.
So as we come to the end of our service, I thought I'd remind you of some things coming up. Next week is our fun day, so we've got another service, another part of the all-aged I Am series, and then followed that, please bring a packed lunch along and invite as many kids and families as you know, and they can have a lot of fun on the Bouncy Castle, a couple of hours of fun. Also, if you'd like to share this service with a friend or family member, feel free to do so. Feel free to share the link with them, or feel free to pick up one of these bad boys. They are under your seats. I made sure every seat has got one. There's plenty of spares at the sides as well and at the back. But yeah, feel free to take one, put it on your fridge, or pass it to a friend so that make sure you can hand it out physically. We've got plenty of them. Also, I wanted to recommend some songs to you. The song that was played during the response time earlier is called Longing. This song's by Ollie Knight. And yeah, if you want to speak to me afterwards, I can get a copy to you. Also, the song we're going to close on today is called He Knows My Name, and I feel like it's really fitting for this service. It's sort of like, it's kind of, for me, it's a battle cry. It's kind of it's like a song that you can go into the week full of confidence with, knowing that your God is going to call you by name. He knows us by name. And so yeah, we're going to lead out on that. But thank you very much for joining us today. But yeah, we're going to have that song playing out as we go. So yeah, have a great week, everybody.
He formed my heart.